Here is an interesting statistics that might make you rethink your approach to savings. 80% of retirees never spend all their retirement savings. Actually, about 1/3 of retirees die with more money than they started retirement with. And on average, retirees only spend 25% of their savings during their entire retirement. So what does this mean? It means that many retirees are actually saving more than they need. Quite interesting, right? We talk all the time about how people are not saving enough for retirement. However, what these stats show is that for those who do save, many overshoot their target, and for some, by a wide margin. Well, then does this mean we can all dial back our savings today and go out and buy that Ferrari that we always wanted? Well, as someone who advocates strongly for saving more, of course not. We should all strive to live below our means, invest diligently, and plan for our future. That is a fact. But could we all be a little smarter about how we save? Could we be a little wiser about living a more balanced life between today and tomorrow? For those of you who go to the extremes when it comes to savings, I say probably yes. And that is what I want to discuss in today's video. So to kick things off, let's talk about some hidden signs that signal you might be an oversaver. Sign number 1 that you might be an oversaver. You neglect your current life for future security. Essentially, do you negligently postpone living your life today so you can have more money tomorrow? Are you putting off that medical checkup because it costs $300? Avoiding the dentist even though you know you need that cleaning? Skipping therapy sessions that could genuinely improve your mental health? Or maybe you're delaying essential home repairs, that leaky roof, those worn out brakes on your car, or basic maintenance that keep you safe. I say when you have the financial means, but you're still sacrificing your health, safety, and well-being to save money, you might have crossed over into the oversaving territory. Here's the reality. If you're not taking care of yourself today, what's the point of having all the money in the future? Your health is your wealth, and ignoring it now could cost you far more later, both financially and in quality of life. Sign number 2 that you might be an oversaver. You constantly experience extreme frugality fatigue. Again, being frugal is a good thing. It shows that you're actively thinking about money. However, there are times when we can take this a bit too far. You overanalyze every single purchase decision. You spend 20 minutes researching whether to buy the $8 coffee bean or the $6 one. You constantly calculate the opportunity cost of that $5 latte, thinking, if I invest this $5 instead, it could be worth $50 in 30 years. Now again, a moderate level of this is good and necessary. However, if we're always thinking about this, when you're spending enormous mental energy on trivial financial decisions, you're actually hurting your overall financial health. Your brain has limited capacity for decision making, and if you're burning it all on whether to buy generic or name brand cereal, you're not going to have any energy left for decisions that actually matter. Understand that smart savers make quick decisions on small purchases and spend their mental energy on big financial moves that actually build wealth. Before we get to the next sign that might signal you're an oversaver, I want to share a free tool I think you'll find really valuable in your financial wealth journey. In the course of my content creation journey, I had the good fortune of talking with hundreds, if not thousands of people about money. And one of the trends I've noticed throughout all these interactions was this, that we all have different strengths and natural inclinations when it comes to our money behavior. Some of you are amazing at sticking to a budget. Others of you are excellent at staying calm through all the market volatility. Well, if you're curious to find out what your own personal money strengths are, you're in luck, my friend. I created the Money Superpower quiz to help you identify exactly what your money strengths are. The whole quiz takes just a few minutes, and when you're done, you'll get a personalized roadmap showing you exactly what your money superpower is and how you can best leverage it to your advantage. So don't wait. Go to the link in the video description below and take the quiz today. Alright, with that, back to the video. Sign number 3 that you might be an oversaver. Your social life suffers from money anxiety. This goes beyond just saying no to expensive activities. Are you avoiding social situations entirely because they might involve spending? Do you feel anxiety when friends suggest dinner out, even somewhere affordable? Maybe you're making excuses to avoid birthday parties, work events, or family gatherings because you don't want to spend on gifts, drinks, or gas. Or you go, but you spend the whole time stressed about every dollar you're spending instead of enjoying yourself. You might not realize it at the time, but here's what is really happening. You're trading relationships for dollars, and that in my book is a terrible exchange rate. Research from Cornell University shows that people who spend on social experiences report higher life satisfaction decades later. Meanwhile, people who isolate themselves to save money often experience social poverty, money in the bank, but poor and meaningful relationships. And to be honest, if you're smart about it, many social activities do not cost that much. Coffee with a friend might cost $5. A potluck dinner may be $10 to $15. Even a dinner out might be $30 to $50 if you're wise about how you go about it. Understand that if you can well afford these social expenses, but choose not to participate because of your money anxiety, you might be oversaving. You're prioritizing future financial security over present happiness and relationships. Sign number 4 that you might be an oversaver. You're hoarding a ridiculous amount of cash. Now, we all need a good level of liquid cash at all times. You just never know what life will bring, and nothing provides better cushion than cash. However, there is a massive difference between having a smart level of emergency fund and cash hoarding. I've seen friends and colleagues who would sit on hundreds of thousands, some even several millions of dollars of cash, all parked in a savings account, earning essentially nothing. They're constantly afraid of what ifs. What if I lose my job? What if I invest the money and the market crashes? What if the aliens invade Earth? But the irony here is that by trying to avoid all risk, you're taking on the biggest risk of all. The risk that your money won't keep up with the cost of living. That is not financial security. That, in my perspective, is financial self-sabotage. Sign number 5 that you might be an oversaver. You're doing low-value activities to save money. This is perhaps the most subtle sign because many people have a hard time seeing it. Many don't realize that they're spending significant time and energy to save money. To be honest, in the long run, won't make that much of a difference. Driving 20 minutes out of your way to save 10 cents per gallon on gas. Spending hours researching to save $5 in a purchase. Or washing your own car for 2 hours when a car wash down the street costs $6. The key is to recognize that time is one of your most valuable resources in life. More than money, more than anything, because it is something you can never get back. So when you're using that precious resource in the spirit of saving small amounts of money, in my book, you've lost sight of the bigger picture. Alright, now that we've identified the warning signs of oversaving, let's talk about what smart savers actually do differently, and why their approach leads to better financial outcomes and a more satisfied life. The number one difference between an oversaver and a smart saver is balance. Smart savers focus on balance, not extremes. Smart savers understand that money is a tool to create the life they want, not an end goal in itself. The goal isn't to lay on our deathbed with the biggest pile of cash. That doesn't lead to a balanced or a satisfied life. And data actually supports this. According to Federal Reserve research, people with moderate, consistent saving habits often have better overall financial health than extreme savers. Why? Because they're participating in market growth while at the same time maintaining their health, relationships, and career development. So while you should save a healthy percentage of your income, be careful not to sacrifice so much of today for tomorrow. Seek balance. The number 2 difference. Smart savers prioritize high-impact financial decisions. This is the opposite of obsessing over whether to buy the $6 or $8 coffee beans or spending 2 hours debating between 2 streaming services that differ by $2 a month. Smart savers focus their mental energy on decisions that actually move the needle. They spend their time optimizing their investment portfolio, negotiating their salary, choosing the right insurance coverage, and maximizing tax advantage accounts. They understand that a single successful salary negotiation can be worth more than years of buying cheaper coffee beans. And a smart asset allocation decision can generate thousands more in returns than switching to a slightly cheaper streaming service. Bottom line, work smarter, not harder when it comes to your financial decisions. The number 3 difference between an oversaver and a smart saver. Smart savers understand opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is the value of the best alternative that you give up when making a choice. In simple terms, it is what you're missing out on by choosing one option over another. Smart savers are constantly asking themselves, what am I giving up by doing this? When you spend 2 hours driving around town to save $20 on groceries, your opportunity cost might be the $100 you could have earned working those extra hours, or the time you could have spent with your family, or even just the mental energy you could have preserved for more important decisions. Oversavers often ignore these hidden costs, focusing only on the dollars saved while missing the bigger picture of what they're actually losing. Difference number 4. Smart savers invest in their present and their future simultaneously. This one I find quite important. Smart savers do not view present spending and future wealth as mutually exclusive. They understand that they actually go hand in hand. A smart saver will spend money on preventative healthcare today because they know it's cheaper than emergency care later. They'll invest in professional development today because it could lead to a salary increase in the future. They'll invest in their relationships today because social connections, the right ones, will pay dividends for years to come. Oversavers, on the other hand, often penny pinch their way out of opportunities. They'll skip the doctor's appointments that could catch health issues early, avoid networking events that could lead to their next job opportunity, or refuse to invest in learning new skills because they can't see past the immediate cost. They're so focused on preserving money today that they end up costing themselves significantly more tomorrow. The number 5 difference between an oversaver and a smart saver. Smart savers use data, not fear, to make smart financial decisions. Fear is an important emotion because it can help us avoid genuine dangers and make prudent decisions. However, it shouldn't be the primary driver of our financial choices. That only leads to analysis paralysis, missed opportunities, and just bad decisions. And smart savers understand this fact. Thus, they rely on data to make good financial decisions. They know that over the past 30 years, the US stock market has averaged about 10% annual returns, while savings accounts have averaged 1 to 2%. Thus, they understand that $10,000 invested in the market 30 years ago will be worth about $175,000 today, while that same money in savings accounts will be worth about $18,000. That $160,000 difference drives their decision to invest consistently rather than hoard cash. Smart savers build wealth and live well simultaneously. They understand that the goal isn't to have the most money when they die. It is to have enough money to live the life they want while they're still alive. So now the big question. If we find that we're in the oversaver category and we want to transition to the smart saver category, how can we do that? Well, an excellent question, my friend. Let me share with you my 5-question smart saver assessment. Everything you need to know to assess if you're on the right track and what changes you can make today to become a smart saver, not an oversaver. Question number 1. Ask yourself, do I have an appropriate emergency fund for my situation? Here's the reality. Most financial experts recommend 3 to 6 months of expenses for people with stable income, and 6 to 12 months for those with volatile income like freelancer or commission-based workers. But I constantly see people with 3, 5, sometimes even 10 years worth of cash sitting in savings accounts. The key is matching your emergency fund to your actual risk. Stable career with a pension? 3 months is probably fine. Freelance graphic designer? Maybe 9 to 12 months makes sense. But anything beyond that, you need a specific reason, not just general anxiety. Question number 2. Ask yourself, am I spending significant time to save insignificant amount of money? Do you drive 30 minutes out of your way to save $3 in groceries? Spend hours researching to save $10 in a purchase? Choose a slower, more inconvenient option just because they're slightly cheaper? Remember, your time has value, often much more value in the small amounts that you're saving. If you make $25 per hour and spend an hour to save $5, you've actually lost $20. Smart savers value their time appropriately and focus their energy on decisions that actually impact their wealth. Question number 3. Ask yourself, am I sacrificing my current well-being for future security? This is where oversaving gets really dangerous for your health and wellness. Are you skipping medical checkups because they cost $200? Avoiding the dentist even though you need that cleaning? Or maybe you're saying no to social activities with friends and family because they cost money. Here's what oversavers miss. Your health and relationships are not just expenses. They're the foundation of your life. What is the point of having money in the future if you're not healthy enough to enjoy it or connected enough to share it? Research shows that people who maintain their health and relationships throughout their working years are not only happier, but often more financially successful too. If you're sitting on substantial savings but won't spend $300 in preventive healthcare or $50 in dinner with loved ones, you're thinking like an oversaver, not a smart saver. Question number 4. Ask yourself, am I missing out on high return investment in myself? This question focuses specifically on your career and earning potential. Are you avoiding spending money on things that could significantly increase your income? I'm talking about professional development courses, certifications, industry conferences, or networking events. Maybe it's that $500 coding course that could lead to a $20,000 salary increase, or the $200 software that could save you 10 hours a week and make you more productive. Or it's the $1,000 conference where you can meet your next client or employer. Some people will set $100,000 in savings, but will not spend $1,000 on professional development. In my book, that's backwards thinking. Smart savers understand that investing in their skills, career, or network often provides the highest return of any investment. Sometimes 10 times, 20 times, or even 50 times returns. Question number 5. Ask yourself, is my pursuit of saving creating stress instead of security? This might be the most important question of all. Money should provide peace of mind, but for oversavers, it often creates the opposite. Are you constantly worried about spending anything, even though you have substantial savings? Do you feel guilty about every purchase, even necessary ones? Or are you losing sleep calculating opportunity costs of small expenses? I've seen people with $200,000 in savings who feel anxious about spending $50 in dinner with friends. That is not financial security, that is financial anxiety disorder. And research shows that people who experience financial anxiety often have worse health outcomes, strained relationships, and ironically, worse long-term financial performance. If your pursuit of financial security is making you feel insecure, you've crossed into the oversaving territory. Understand that money should provide you a peace of mind, not create anxiety. Thank you guys for watching the theme of extreme savings. If you want to learn some other extreme money obsessions that might be keeping you poor, please check out my video here. Until next time, all the best.